Excalibur Tactical has taken soft air guns to a whole new level. I'm really impressed by the realistic look of these, well, I don't want to call them firearms, but these replicas. But I want to show you something else that's really cool, something kind of new. What do you have here, Sam?
What we have here is Piper String Products M134A2. It's a 2008 model. M134A2 Airsoft Vulcan minigun. It's a air-powered minigun replica. It's a 1-to-1 scale. It fires roughly about 50 rounds per second using electricity. It's also
50 rounds a second?
50 rounds a second, or 3,000 rounds per minute. Same rate of fire as the Dillon M134D. The gun uses a hybrid system. It uses electricity to spin the barrels, and it uses a CO2, or high-pressure air tank, to fire the BBs out.
Now the projectiles are?
6mm airsoft plastic BBs, but it can also accept 6mm steel BBs. Obviously, those are not for war game use or less lethal use. With the airsoft BBs, the velocities are 250 to 625 feet per second. With the metal BBs weighing 0.88 grams, the velocity is slower at 425 feet per second. But due to the construction of the steel BB, it has more penetrative properties and more kinetic energy to it.
Exactly. You want to spin the barrels for us?
Sure, we can do that for you right now, sir. And that's 50 rounds per second.
50 rounds a second going right now. That is way too much fun. But what surprised me as we started talking is how the soft air guns of this type have moved from being novelties and collectibles into practical application tools for law enforcement. Let's talk about that for a moment.
Okay, well, we have a tool here made by the same company called Piper String Products, again, out of Ohio. It's referred to as a Strafer. This is actually the Mark IV Mod 0 version. It's been improved. It's been designed more or less to military standards, aircraft grade aluminum construction. The value of this piece is that it shoots at 175 BBs per rate, 175 rounds per second. It has a 7,200 round hopper. At that rate of fire, you roughly get about 45 seconds worth of non-stop fire in one trigger pull. The velocities on this piece is similar to the minigun. You're looking at about 250 to about 625 feet per second with the airsoft BBs, 425 with steel BBs also. Of course, that's not for less lethal use. As a less lethal gun, this is valuable in regards to you can engage multiple opponents. Traditional less lethal devices, you engage one target at a time.
Well, give us an example of what type of application. When might this be deployed?
When might this be deployed? For example, you may have a prison riot that breaks out in the field. Traditional technologies is you can only take one or two opponents down. This one works more or less like a water hose. 45 seconds of constant BB stream, and you can basically sweep the gun back and forth across a crowd on multiple targets. As long as you keep it below the eye line, it is a very effective weapon. Each sting of the BB feels like somebody has pinched you, but 175 pinches per second is something you just simply cannot deal with. Your brain threshold just cannot deal with that. And if you do have padding, things like that, it eventually starts to wear its way through the padding into the target. So it's a very effective, less lethal device.
Well, and I see another plus. You're not bringing a firearm into that situation.
That is correct.
It's strictly a less lethal. If somebody was to get it away from the operator, they don't have a firearm that they can actually utilize at an extreme distance. How far will this be practical application?
The practical application is about 75 yards effective range on a human-sized target. If it does have a maximum range of 125, but that is more or less with the gun pitched angled towards the sky there, so it's not a flat trajectory. But so 75 yards is basically what we're saying it's effective for on a horizontal plane.
Is it a fixed hopper, or do you have a magazine that exchanges?
There's actually this whole entire upper unit here is actually the hopper. And it holds 7,200 rounds. And it's very simple to reload. You simply just have almost the gas cap of the car, twist it off, pour the BBs in, and you're good to go in that regard. We also have incorporated the rail system into it, so you can actually put your standard stop mod accessories onto it, optical sights, lasers, units, flashlights. We also have an airsoft grenade launcher, which what's interesting about this particular piece is you can also use airsoft grenades that fire pepper ball rounds. So you have two less lethal devices on this particular Strafer here. This actually can be removed also for this particular piece, and it's modular in how you can accessorize it.
Hey, Sam, can I take a little closer look at that?
Sure, by all means.
So we have a tactical sight, EOTech?
An EOTech sight, so all your standard accessories will mount to it.
So to actuate it, is there a safety?
There is a built-in safety selector on the side there.
Okay, so just on the cross?
Just on the cross, and you push that in. Now this does use external CO2 high pressure air, so you would have a hose coming out in a CO2 tank that you'd actually carry on your body some way. But what's unique about the selector here is that this is one of the original models. We're working on an aftermarket, or not aftermarket, but an additional accessory part, which is there's going to be two settings. It's safe, fire, but there's going to be a center setting that actually is going to be 50% velocity. So if the gun is actually set for 600 feet per second, and you're engaging an opponent at closer range, and you feel like that's going to threaten him,
right,
you can press the selector to the half setting, and that reduces it to 300 feet per second.
And it probably extends your capacity of everything else as well.
It will basically expand your capacity of the CO2. It's not going to be consumed as quickly. But obviously the BBs would consume just as fast.
Same way.
But your velocity has been reduced to a safer speed because of the closer engagement range.
Really?
Yep. It's a Piper Precision's design. It's something called a pulse-matic. And the pulse-matic system is basically similar to the Strafer mechanism. But what it's doing is it's causing a pause in between each shot. And that pause is what generates your champagne cork-like effect of fire. And when that happens, that's what causes your recoil.